Okay, so this is the third tutorial and an introduction into cell-based animation. So what we are going to be doing today is a little bubble text type animation with our names. So the first thing I want you to do is create a folder somewhere. I'm just going to do it now on my desktop, and I'm just going to call it cell-based tutorial. Once you got that done, open up Photoshop. Cool, once you're in Photoshop, create a new file. And we are going to make the aspect ratio full HD, so 1920 by 1080, and we're just going to call it, again, cell-based tut 1, something like that. So height, 1920, width, and height, 1080. Create. Should look something like this. Now, all we're going to be doing in Photoshop is using the brush tool and a little bit of smoothness. We are going to just write out our name using our trackpad multiple times in multiple different colors. So once you've got your canvas open and Photoshop running, I want you to go into Adobe Color, so go into your browser, and I want you to find a color scheme that you can use for this tutorial. So I'm going to use this one here. Different shades of red and orange and yellow. Once you've got your color scheme, come back into Photoshop and you can come over here or you can press B. We are going to use the brush. So with the brush tool, I want you to select a dry media brush or wet media brush over here in the presets. I'm just going to use this wet media brush here, and I'm going to set the size to 30. Cool, so it should look something like this. What you'll probably have is your flow and your smoothing. If this is the first time you are using something like this, will probably be at 0. So I want you to make your flow 40 for now, and I want you to make your smoothing 40 for now. Everything else you can ignore. Now, there are some hotkeys with this. So obviously B for brush, and then you can use, I'll put the keys on the screen now, but they are like little brackets, square brackets, and that will help you change the size of your brush. So if you do want to change the size of your brush as you do this, you can do that very efficiently like that. Another thing that you might want to know is if you hold shift and you draw, it will create a straight line for you. So if I was doing something like a T, look, there we go, nice and straight, looks a little bit better than something like that. Cool, so what we're going to do now is we are just going to use this color scheme here. We're going to copy this color here. We're going to get off the background, and working on layer 1, we are going to use that color to draw our name. So I'm just going to start here. I'm going to do my surname. Look, if you're unhappy with any of the letters, just press Command Z and go back. There we go, Beresford. I'm then going to create a new layer, come back, get the next color, change it over here, and do the same again. Make sure you have the next layer selected, or you'll be essentially ruining your file. Go again, trace over. Doesn't need to be perfect, right? You don't want it to be perfect, or it won't create the desired effect that we are after. You will repeat this process 5 times for every single color. Cool, so once you have done those 5 layers, I would delete the background, and I would just check all my layers with the little eyedropper here. So we've got this layer here, cool. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to rename them. So if you double click the layer name, you can change it. So we've got yellow. I'm just going to call this orange. And then red. I have 3 different shades of red, so I'm just going to call them red 1, 2, and 3. Cool. Once we're at this point, we are getting out of Photoshop. So what we want to do is save it into that folder that we made at the beginning of the tutorial. So for me, that is just called cell-based tute. Save the Photoshop file there. And then we're jumping into After Effects. Cool. Once we're into After Effects, we're going to create a new composition from footage. So if you come into this file, you can open up that Photoshop file. You want to import it like that with editable layer styles, and you don't want to merge the layer styles. So it should look something like that if you open up the composition with all of my different colors there, like Photoshop files, like that. Now, if you look here, you can see that my composition is a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Command A and I'm going to move those more into the center. Cool. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to change the composition duration. So we're going to right click this here. Right now you can see it's 18 seconds. We are just going to make it 2 seconds. Cool. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to press Command A, scale down all of these so they're about 6 frames, come down to Keyframe Assist and go Sequence Layers. Don't overlap, click OK. Move this little slider here, move this little slider here, and you will see we now have our little animated title like that. Cool, one thing I can see here is my darker shade of red doesn't contrast very well on my background. So to do that, I'm just going to change the background color here to white. Let's see how that looks. Looks a little bit better. Cool, so this is just a little introduction tutorial on how different drawings can work together and how cells can work to create an animation. I hope you enjoy.